So I was brushing my teeth this morning when my phone pinged. XRP had just smashed through $2.50. Now I nearly choked on the toothpaste. What if that little green candle is just the opening act for the fireworks finale? So picture this, right? I'm pacing around the living room floor in at least my coffee-stained hoodie, laptop balanced on one hand like a waiter with a tray of cryptos. The cat was staring at me like, dude, are you okay? Because I'm grinning at charts as if they're kind of puppies. But look, or at least when a kind of coin that's kind of been stuck in traffic finally actually finds the fast lane, you pay attention. Now XRP has bulldozed past that stubborn $2 gate and is now flirting with those $2.50 lines for the first time since May. That's not a price move, that's a mic drop. So here's why my pulse is doing the cha-cha, right? Respect analyst, or at least respected analyst, Alex Cobb kind of tweeted XRP season has begun. And I kind of believe him. Now, yesterday, June 9th, I am recording this a little ahead of time, he kind of rang the bell. Ever kind of heard the crowd, for at least kind of the horse track, when the starting gun fires? It's that raw, and that's kind of when crypto Twitter sounded like, or at least what it sounded like after his post. Now Cobbs, he wasn't just tossing out confetti, he's backing it up with the numbers. Now XRP has out-sprinted almost every top 10 coin except Bitcoin, which hit a nosebleed, inducing $118,000. XRP, that's the second largest gainer in the top 10 and fourth in the kind of top 20. So imagine overtaking Ethereum on the highway, honking as you pass. But wait, how did we get here? Well, a couple of weeks back, XRP felt kind of like that friend who kind of shows up late to every party. Bitcoin's been steering headlines, ETH was kind of flirting with ETFs, and meme coins were just kind of pogo sticking. Meanwhile, of course, XRP was quietly strapping on the rocket boots. Thanks to Ripple shaking hands with the oldest US bank, BNY Mellon, and CEO Brad Garlinghouse trading his suit for a congressional microphone. Institutional legitimacy plus regulatory airtime. Now that's kind of like giving a race car premium fuel and a turbo button. Still, I admit it, right? 2 months ago, I was side-eyeing XRP at 50 cents thinking, maybe later. Now Alex Cobb, of course, has kind of publicly kind of confessed that the same regret. Now he wishes that he'd actually stuffed his bags at 50 cents last year. Hear that, right? It's the world's smallest kind of violin playing our kind of lament. Now, but we're not here to kind of cry over spilled Satoshis, are we? We're here to kind of plot the next big move. So, the challenge, nailing the exit ramp without kind of flying off of a cliff. Now, ask any seasoned trader, timing is trickier than solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded, right? Cobb's crystal ball says XRP could reach $4.35 by the end of July. That's a 79% sprint in just 3 weeks. Kind of turning a hatchback into a kind of drag racer overnight, but can the engine handle that kind of speed? Now, historically, XRP's kind of rallied to $3, then face planted back to $2. Analysts, kind of like 𝗗𝗀𝗰𝗍𝗶, kind of called for $4 in February, but the coin just hit the snooze button. Now the alarm's blaring once again. So I pulled up my own charts because you know how I love indicators like a chef loves spices on the weekly, right? Now XRP kind of just printed a golden cross between the 50-week and 200-week EMAs. Now that setup hasn't happened since the kind of Caribbean, or Cambrian kind of explosion. Or at least kind of since its kind of last all-time high in 2018. Well, the RSI, you might be thinking, well, it's punching above 70, but it hasn't kind of nosebleeded just yet. The volume is up 120% week over week, and you got to picture a dam cracking, water coming, is coming whether the villagers believe it or not. Still, there's a difference between hype and homework, right? And that is why our free educational Discord server, the link down in the description, is blowing up with debate right now. People are sharing on-chain data, sentiments, scores, even memes of Brad Garlinghouse riding a rocket skateboard. So if you want to kind of show up in your game, hop in. It's completely free, it's fun, and it's kind of where I steal half of my jokes. Now, let's talk money mechanics. A leap from $2, let's say 40 or $2 and some change, all the way up to $4.35, it kind of means an extra $100 billion in market cap, pushing XRP within kind of spitting distance of Ethereum, assuming ETH completely stands still, which it never really does. But remember, right, the crypto market is a carnival, and the roller coasters run 24/7. The clowns juggle FUD, and every funnel cake vendor, claims the next big thing. So to thrive, you both need popcorn and a seatbelt. Now, halfway through writing this script, I had to pause to kind of top up my Kraken Pro account. Yeah, that's an affiliate link that supports the channel, by the way, because their fee structure, is cheaper than my coffee habit, and their interface makes me feel like a Wall Street trader minus the questionable tie. So if you decide to use it, the link in the description, it kind of helps the channel. But more importantly, it helps my caffeine addiction. And also, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in today's video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video today is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, that's the legal ninjas satisfied. Let's get back to the thrill ride. Now, Cobb's $4.35 target hinges on 3 pillars: momentum, narrative, and liquidity. So momentum we've kind of covered, right? Those green candles are putting on a kind of Broadway show right now. The narrative, XRP is the comeback kid, right? The Rocky Balboa of crypto. After a decade of SEC haymakers, Ripple's banking alliances and congressional cameos feel kind of like victory laps. So liquidity. Well, that's kind of the make or break factor then, right? If whales decide to cannonball into the pool, well, the price tidal wave can drown sellers. Cue the electricity then. Bitcoin's fresh all-time high can drag the whole market into an echo rally, right? History tells historically when Bitcoin finally actually takes a bit of a breather, altcoins throw a bit of a block party. Now in 2017, XRP rocketed 32,000% after Bitcoin cooled off. No, that's not a typo, or it's not even a verbal kind of misprint. It's 32,000%. So if history rhymes even halfway, $4.35 is not moon math, it's just a Sunday brunch. But let's be real. Tribalism runs deep in crypto. Bitcoin maxis will scoff, Ethereum's devs will smirk, and Cardano fans quote peer-reviewed papers at parties. XRP holders? Well, we're the secret society that buys forks and knives for the inevitable pie-in-the-face moments, right? Yet skepticism is, of course, healthy. But remember, right, YOU coin promised to replace email and wound up a digital confetti. Exactly, right? Now, the market literally is littered with broken promises. So I called my friend Jess, a data scientist who treats candlesticks like lab rats. Now she ran regression models factoring in BTC dominance, XRP's trading volumes, and Google Trends hype. Now her model kind of spits out a 62% chance of XRP breaking $4 by the end of July. Now that's far from guaranteed, of course, but I'll take the kind of Vegas odds all day, right? Now, Jess also noted a correlation between congressional hearings and short-term spikes. Garninghouse's testimony could add 10 to 15% juice alone if he drops regulatory breadcrumbs. Meanwhile, my neighbor, Tom, yes, that's Tom who kind of sold his Dogecoin at 5 cents, he knocked on my door for the 3rd time this week asking, should I get in now? But, every kind of market cycle has its own Tom moment, right? When the kind of casual, curious kind of seek directions towards the moon. Now, that can be bullish short term, but it's pretty risky long term, right? When taxis in 1929 started giving stock tips, you kind of know what happens next, right? The trick is surfing the wave without getting slammed by the reef. So one trick that I use is dollar cost averaging with tight stop losses, right? Like kind of walking a tightrope wearing bubble wrap then. And I never go all in on a single candle. Candles burn out, and remember that, right? Now, if you kind of want to geek out about the strategies, again, the Discord link is down below. We're kind of dissecting EMAs, Fibonacci targets, and even astrology. Yes, someone even plotted XRP against Mercury retrograde, right? Now, that doesn't hurt and to know when the kind of universe kind of might throw a bit of a shade, right? Now, for the juicy climax of today's video, if XRP does indeed hit $4.35, well, that blast kind of past its all-time high of $3.84. Breaking an all-time high is kind of like smashing a piñata. Once it kind of splits candy or liquidity, it rains absolutely everywhere. So order books will thin out, price slippage becomes an Olympic event, shorts get liquidated faster than ice cream in July, right? We could see a wick to $5 before rational minds pull it back. That's pure speculation, of course. So think of it as a fireworks finale. It's beautiful, it's loud, and slightly dangerous if you're not wearing the earplugs. But let's not forget gravity, right? If the broader market sneezes, let's say the Fed hints at rate hikes, or something ugly drops in the regulatory inbox, well, XRP could retrace to $1.80 in the blink of an eye. That's kind of why I set alerts, like a paranoid squirrel, if you will. Risk management, it isn't sexy, but neither is bankruptcy. And hey, maybe Cobb's wrong, right? Maybe July peters out at $3.25. Would that invalidate the season? Not in my book, because seasons aren't 1 month wonders. They're macro chapters. Apple trees will still kind of bear through even if a storm knocks off a few blossoms, right? The bigger question is the underlying soil, that's Ripple's ecosystem, healthy? BNY Mellon thinks so. Congress giving Garlinghouse a microphone thinks so. When institutions lean in, price tends to follow eventually, even if it kind of trips along the way. So last night I rewatched my first XRP video from 2017. I sounded like a caffeinated squirrel squeaking about internet bridge currency. Fast forward just 8 years and CBDCs are on the table. Cross-border payments are $1 trillion headache, and XRP is that kid from the small town who suddenly became the quarterback, right? The narrative aged like fine wine, or at least like boxed wine that somehow tastes better with nostalgia. And so, here's how I'm approaching it. 60% of my XRP stack is chilling in cold storage, untouchable till at least $6, right? Another 30% that I might trim around Cobb's magic $4.35 if volume looks frothy. And that last 10% is my fun fund. Swing trades, liquidity grabs, maybe even a scalp if a $5 wick appears. Now that plan could change tomorrow because markets are like cats, lovable but impossible to actually herd. So look, right, you don't have to chase every single shiny coin, but you do need a thesis. And if your thesis is number go up, that's a lottery ticket, not a strategy. Now, my thesis is actually quite simple. XRP's tech solves a real problem. It's slow, expensive cross-border transfers, right? Now, while building infrastructure bridges, is what Ripple's doing. Add a dash of regulatory clarity, add a kind of sprinkle of FOMO, and you've kind of got a little bit of rocket fuel. But rockets, they can explode mid-flight, so wear a helmet. Now, before we kind of tie all of this up in a nice neat bow, on it, here's a quick shout out to Kraken Pro's affiliate link once again. One click supports the channel and gets you slashed fees. If you do sign up, DM me your first trade slip in Discord, and I'll send you a high five emoji, maybe even a really bad dad joke. So, what's the takeaway here is that my coffee mug is empty, right? Markets reward preparedness, not the panic, right? Whether XRP tops out at $3, $4.35, or blasts up to $10, the real winners are those who entered with a plan. They kept the emotions in check, and they remembered that tomorrow's another candle, right? Years from now, we'll be looking back at July 2025 and say either this was the launch pad, or this, or at least that was kind of the mock takeoff before the real countdown. Now, either way, I'll be there and here, cat on the lap, charts glowing like city lights at midnight, sharing the journey with you guys. Now, if that journey sounds like your jam, then smash the subscribe button so that we can chase the next crypto plot twist together.